Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Discussing Dynamo, your home for Houston Dynamo FC news, updates, and matchday discussions. My name is New Ward, and in this very overdue review video, we're going to be discussing the recent game against St. Louis City SC. So if you like what you see today, please be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about the recent game. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. The Dynamo lost 2-1 against St. Louis away at City Park. Really not the result we were looking for, but I don't think it's not nail in the coffin quite yet. The team still has a chance to come back and play in front of the home fans. We're only down by 1 point in the aggregate, and truthfully, I don't think we're too far off. I think our magic number right now is one. If we can score one goal and hold them scoreless next Tuesday, we'll still be able to move on because of the I'm sorry, not the away goal rule. Um, which means if the score ends up tied in the aggregate, whoever scored the most goals away from home, obviously that team gets to move on. So if we can score one, that'll put the aggregate total at 2-2, and then we have the one goal away. So we'll be able to move on. So hopefully we get an outcome like that or something similar. Basically, whatever outcome we need in order to move on. I'm not really too picky on either one. But that's for the future. For right now, we're looking at the past, looking at this game on the past Tuesday. Um, I thought we did pretty good. We started out a little bit rough. Our defensive backline kind of seemed like it took a little bit of time to get into the game. Um, I guess let's go ahead and real quick and look at the lineup. The lineup that I predicted was completely wrong. So we'll go ahead and just take a look at the Twitter here. So this was our starting lineup. We had Clark in goal, Mikael's Fiachico in the direct back, Schmidt, Artur, and Dorsey right in front of them. And then midfield, we had Reigns and Kediskia, Aliu and Kovacic on the wings, and then Sebas up front. So that was our starting lineup. Their starting lineup. They didn't really show the shape on their Twitter, but it was Berkey in goal, Totland, Yarrow, Parker, and Markinich, if I'm saying that right. Ostrak, Durkin, Vasilev, Jackson, Edeniran, Edeniran. I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Klaus. Um, so that's who they had coming at us. Um, that's who we had playing for us. So, ow. Um, so like I said though, I thought our back line was a little bit iffy at the start. There were two instances in the first about 10 15 minutes where it really looked like Klaus was about to put the St. Louis up one goal and then two goals right away. Um, he was kind of just left unmarked, and he almost put a header in, but he kind of knocked it wide. And then I believe it was Fiachenko made a really, really poor pass in the back line. It looked like it was supposed to head to Mikael, but it didn't, and it just fell right into Klaus's feet. And again, he just passed it wide. So we got lucky there. But after that, that seemed to kind of jostle our back line, and that got they were actually able to pick it up and start moving the ball forward. So as soon as they were able to do that, we were able to start getting on the attack. And then almost right away, Sebas goes down injured in like the 22nd minute with a hamstring injury. We now know obviously at the moment we weren't sure, but he was grabbing his leg. He had to be carted off the field, and Smith came on to replace him, Brad Smith. So not only did that change personnel on the field, that changed the shape up a little bit. So Aliu went to cover Sebastian's position in the forward, and Smith covered Aliu's position on the wing. And this paid off almost immediately. There was a beautiful, beautiful little ball forward from, I believe it was Schmidt on the left. Yeah, Schmidt in the left back. Played it forward. Aliu looks like he touches the ball because he jumps up to try and bring it down with his right foot, but he doesn't touch it. I specify that for what's about to happen here in a moment in this little review here. So he doesn't touch it. The ball falls for Coco. Coco plays the ball forward into the box, dances past a couple defenders. One little, you can call it a cross. It was a pass across the box to Liu, who made himself more available on the right side of the box, who just one touches it into the back of the net, goal. And initially the team goes up 1-0. Vibes are good, everyone's happy. And then VAR looks at the play and decides that Aliu did touch the ball, or that there was clear and precise evidence that he did touch the ball. If you go back and look at the replay, I don't really have it up right now, but if you go back and look at the replay, he doesn't. You can't prove he does. Nothing in the review or the replay shows he does. So unless they just haven't released the angle that they saw where they saw clearly that he did. It was just a terrible call by VAR. And I don't want to be one of those guys that will say that, oh, the score would have been different if they had let that go through, or maybe we'd be tied, maybe we'd have the lead, because there were other chances in the game for us to score another goal. We just couldn't capitalize on. There were several chances where it kind of seemed like Coco was going to be there, or Ali was going to score another one, and they just weren't able to actually finish the goal. But that did hurt. That it really did hurt to kind of see what would have been a early lead drop back down to an even 0-0, and that's kind of how we ended the first half. Now in that first half, you could see St. Louis had their plan to kind of do that counterattacking football that they like. Um, they had, and it kind of seemed like they had a trap set for us in the midfield, which on their part was pretty smart, considering we don't have Bossy, we don't have Herrera, we don't have Casado, like we don't have any of our really strong midfielders that we would want to have up there. So it made sense that they might have thought that was our weaker spot. Um, but to Ben Olsen's credit, it seemed like our plan was to kind of just play it out of the backfield and just ground pass it up, work it up very slowly, no long balls, no aerial balls, nothing to let that counterattacking football really show its strength. So we were able to kind of nullify that. So it was a pretty even back and forth little chess match for a little bit. Honestly, like our specific play, you could just see it time and time again. We were feeding the ball to Mikael. Mikael would watch the pass, figure out where he needed to play the ball best to move the ball forward, and would go on from there. Um, so yeah, that was basically that first half. Would have been nice to have that first goal, but we couldn't get it. And then the second half, I will admit, to preface the second half of the review, parental duties did take me away from the second half, so I couldn't really watch the whole thing, but I did watch the highlights from what I could see. Um, so to kind of break this down, right away you could kind of see that St. Louis did make an adjustment. It kind of seemed like they took that trap that they had set in the midfield and just pushed it back one line. So it kind of seemed like their trap was now set in our defense, and that pretty much seemed to do the job for them. We weren't able to be as creative with our attacks. They were a lot more. There was a lot more pressure on our back line, so they'd be a lot faster with their decisions, which led to little couple sloppy passes, couple decisions that maybe they weren't the right one, but they were the one that avoided pressure. So in the moment, in that sense, they were the right one. Um, Steve Clark is a hero. Steve Clark is my dad. I love Steve Clark. There was one point right before Tim Parker scored. Spoiler alert! But there's at one point Steve Clark, sorry, made 3 to 4 reflex saves from shots literally right in front of his face, like just stopping. I mean, if not for Steve Clark, the scores would have been insane. And I mean, that's an easy thing to say. Without the goalie, the score would have been, a lot more one-sided. But I don't think, with no disrespect to Andrew Tarbell or Xavi, but I don't think either one of them could have made the saves that Steve Clark was making that night. Um, so he goes on this amazing short little sprint of just stopping everything coming into the ball or coming into the net, and then St. Louis gets a foul right outside of the box. It's a nice little cross up. Right in front of the box is Tim Parker, and I don't remember who our defender was, but it's a 50-50 header right in front of the net. That's either going to go in or it's not. That's a 50-50, and unfortunately it goes in. Tim Parker puts St. Louis up 1-0, and then that's when you really start to feel like, man, if we had just gotten that VAR call right, this would be a different vibe. But it is what it is. Um, so that's about all we have for there. Play continues. We manage to come back. We have Coco on the right side of the field, dancing past 2 defenders, plays a wonderful pass, wonderful curved little ground pass up to the feet of Kovacic, who knocks it into the back of the net, so we are able to equalize. And then it kind of continues like that through the rest of the game, staying 1-1 up until 95th minute, I believe. We're in extra time. It's literally one of the last kicks of the game. St. Louis is on the attack, and we're not collapsed yet. We have, I want to say it was like 5 defenders in the box, Rangers in the box. Like we had everyone in the box. It looked like we were actually going to be able to get away with it. St. Louis is on the attack. They shoot. It gets knocked out. It gets deflected off to, I want to say, the left side of the box. If the camera angle is correct, they shoot. They shoot again. Ball falls to Brooklyn Reigns, who takes just a little bit too heavy of a touch. I would have liked to have seen him punt that shit to Mars, but obviously I don't think he had the time. It was kind of reflexes, just touch that he made, and it falls a little bit too far away from him. He goes to try and get it. He's able to touch it, and then Jose Kojima comes in, puts his foot down, knocks it out of Reigns, trips Reigns, and I had to watch that about 3 or 4 times in slow motion. Like I had the replay going in 0.25 because I so wanted Jose to step on him and not have hit the ball first, so it could be a foul and I could be mad about it. But it wasn't. It was a very very clean and strong tackle. So unfortunately, that was it was a strong tackle. He frees the ball from Reigns, comes in, shoots. It's right in front of goal. It's an easy goal for him. Well, he still had to finish, so it was a goal. Um, and it put St. Louis up, 2-1, which was the final score line. And yeah, so that was our game. Overall, I don't think the team played too bad. Like I said, the defense kind of suffered a little bit there in the beginning, and I will say towards the end of the first half, it really felt like the whole team was kind of holding on for dear life to try and keep it equal. So going into the first half, like going into the locker room at the end of the first half, you kind of felt like, you know, excuse me, excuse me, you felt like on one hand that wasn't the result you wanted going in. You weren't really happy with it because you were expecting more. You were expecting that 1-0. You wanted that 1-0. But on the other hand, you're happy with that because they were attacking. We were it was a little bit of an Alamo situation going on in the last bit of that first half. In the second half, more of the same, but it is what it is. Like I said, we come back to Houston. We have a chance to still win it all. We're not in a bad spot at all, and I think we'll be able to do it. I really do. I'm not too worried about it. I'm pretty sure I said in the preview video that if we can come back with at least a 1 point deficit, we'll be doing okay. So I think we're okay. I think we're in an okay spot. Maybe not the best spot, but I think we're in an okay spot. Um, in terms of player reviews, or I guess team reviews, I think overall I want to give the team kind of across the board a 6. Um, to kind of, there were a couple standout players. Obviously, Clark, I'm going to give Clark a 9. Like, Clark was huge in that game. Um, and honestly, it's kind of funny to give the goalkeeper a 9 in a game where they let 2 by, but I think Clark was amazing. I don't think he could really be put to blame for either goal, really. The Tim Parker header, again, it was a 50-50 in front of the net. It's soccer. That's gonna happen. That's gonna go in or it's not. You can't really. It's called a 50-50 for a reason. You can't really do too much about it. And he did what he could, but I mean, if you haven't watched the replays, I highly encourage you to look them up and watch them because it's you can just see he is Superman in that net. I think Mikael had a pretty strong game, so I'll give him a little bit above a 6. I'll give him a 7. I thought Dorsey had an okay game, but I think I'm comfortable leaving him at a 6. I thought Reigns had a pretty good game. I'd give him a 7. Um, the front line, I'm gonna give them all 7s or 8s. I thought Liu did really good. I'm gonna give him an 8. I thought Kovacic definitely did good. Played out of his boots. Like he was dancing around defenders like I don't think I've ever seen him do. So I'm gonna give him an 8. Smith, I'll go ahead and leave a 6. Smith was okay. He felt like a little bit of a passenger, but not in a bad way. Like he was a sub, so Um, Ben Olsen, I don't think he made it really too many bad judgment calls. He kind of worked with the front line he had. I'm sorry, not the front line, the lineup that he had. Put the best players he thought available in. So I can't really fault the lineup too much. Um, I don't think really there was too much at fault. I think it was just an unfortunate result. Really, I thought we played really well. I thought we were set up really well. Um, the referee, I will give a solid 4. Uh, there was a lot of calls that were not fouls. The bad offside call aside, which that is what it is. That's just bad. Um, there was at one point where he gave Berkey a foul. Like he called a foul that he said we fouled Berkey because Berkey jumped up to deflect the ball or catch a ball that was crossed into the box and ran into his own defender and then fell down and screamed and we got a foul for that. So that sucked. And it was kind of more of that throughout the game. And on the other side of it, there were a couple of things that we actually did commit fouls on that he kind of let go, and that was kind of going both ways. Um, I don't think he had a very good game for himself at all. I think the only good thing he did do was he didn't lose control of the game. He had a very strong control of the game. It's just he was controlling it in a bad direction. So it did. At least he didn't lose the plot entirely. That would have been really aggravating to watch. Um, but yeah, that's really all I have for a review of that game. I'm sorry this video is so late. I've been a little busy, so I haven't been able to get to this yet. Um, but at this time of recording, we do have the Sporting Kansas City game tomorrow, so I'll have that video up shortly soon. Yes, that's good English. Yes. So if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what you thought about this game, what you thought about this video, if there's anything you'd like to see me cover more, anything you'd like to see me cover less. Um, Sorry if my mic still sounds weird. I don't know why it's picking up and sounding like I'm 1,000 miles away. I'm working on it to try and get that figured out. But just bear with me through this while I can figure this out. But yeah, that's all I have. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.